I feel like starting a fight today. So today we're gonna talk about some controversial car hot takes and give my own hot takes on them because that sounded like fun. So we're on r/cars on the thread, give me your cars related hot takes. What opinions do you hold that are controversial or unpopular? And the OP on this thread said, for me, I think the Subaru Boxer engine is overrated. It's completely gutless and bland without a turbo. Any engine that needs a turbo to be enjoyable and is highly praised is overrated to me. Now, I'm just gonna give my opinion on that first hot take. Personally, I enjoy Subaru engines. I think that they feel unique and they're fun. They don't feel unique to each other. If you've driven a Subaru EJ engine, they all feel really similar. But I think saying that an engine that is gutless without a turbo does not deserve praise is incredibly broad. The amount of engines that are incredibly popular in tuner culture in turbocharged form is incredibly high. You know, literally any Nissan RB DET or DETT engine, you know, RB26, RB25, DET, the 2JZ GTE, literally any boosted Honda K-Swap. I understand that those don't come boosted from the factory, but regardless, there are so many different engines that become legendary when you add forced induction that I understand are not particularly exciting in naturally aspirated form, but you could apply that to almost anything. I don't think that's Boxer engine specific. This person commented, OP over here starting a fight with literally every diesel motor ever mass produced. They're not wrong. I mean, that kind of applies to diesel motors, but again, diesel motors thrive when boosted. That doesn't make them suck. The next one is car reviews always overstate things for dramatic effects. Not talking about Top Gear who do it for entertainment. And as a result, it's rather difficult to read their qualitative takes on things, which makes me question the whole review. Reading exercise excruciating sometimes. That's almost correct. It's grammar, I don't know, man. Conflicting opinions from different sites, confusion. Yeah, but at the same time, that applies to reviews for literally any given thing ever. There's a reason why online reviews as a whole are not that helpful. Some reviews are helpful, but it's like if you go to Amazon and, you know, there's one review that is like, wow, it's shipped really fast and says nothing about the product. There's another review that's like, I hate it, it sucks, and it's 5 stars for some reason. There's another review that's like, yeah, I got it for my son, he does not talk to me. So that's not that helpful. And you never know when someone is just way overly excited about something and just spews out positivity from the beginning and maybe their opinion changes over time. So, I mean, car reviews are kind of the same. Everyone's gonna have different opinions, but that's kind of the point of having so many different media outlets that do car reviews. Can it be confusing? Sure, but you kind of have to take the good with the bad in that sort of way. This person says, the modified truck scene is just embarrassing. Lifted trucks, squatted trucks, rolling coal, all of it just makes me physically cringe. And how someone can get into a modified truck and actually take themselves seriously. I feel more secure driving around in a clown car because at least then people know I'm not taking myself serious. And then they have an edit. Should preface this by saying off-road trucks are super cool. This applies exclusively to those ones without a scratch on them that just sit around in parking lots and never touch dirt. Practical modifications that improve performance off-road are always cool. Yeah, I kind of agree with this one. I love trucks, and I love lifted trucks. I love how the look is. Now, granted, I'm not into super duper lifted trucks. Like, if I was going to buy a new truck right now, I would probably get an F-150, put like a 4-inch lift on it and some 35s with not too big of wheels. Something that could actually be functional if I wanted it to be. But there's people that are out there with these 12-inch lifts that then have 24x14 wheels with 33s on them for some reason and have this ridiculous stretch tire. And I mean, this is always going to be a preference thing. I think that looks bad. That's just my preference, is not that. But at the same time, it's not functional. And things that are just dysfunctional always bug me from almost every angle in the car scene. If that's what you're into, that's fine. You know, you are fully able to do whatever you want, and no one else's opinions should affect what you do when it comes to modifying your car. But yeah, I mean, in my opinion, the rolling coal thing, the squatted trucks, the ridiculous lifts, stuff like that, and it's just, for lack of better words, such like douchebag culture. And I just don't get it. It's not my thing. I get why some people like it, but when you're ruining someone else's day with your vehicle, there's probably a problem. Now, if your truck is loud and, you know, you're just driving it around in traffic and that's irritating people, you know, that's always gonna be stupid to me if people are Karens about that. Like, yes, my Mustang is loud, my Subaru was fairly loud, my 350Z was loud, but at the same time, there's so many vehicles that drive down the road that have like their exhaust rusted off that are pretty much just as loud as my Mustang, and people don't get mad at them. Sorry that I did it on purpose, but I don't think that that should affect your life that much. And in that case, I get it. Rolling coal onto people's cars, that's just a jerk move. I feel like that should be obvious. Okay, next one. If it has 4 doors, it's not a coupe, and I don't care what the dictionary says. Yes, they spelled it coupe specifically. Yeah, that's a really dumb trend. I don't know how that became a thing. Words are so meaningless nowadays. What does any given word even mean? I mean, the fact that like BMW and Mercedes are making like somewhat sleek looking 4-door SUVs and calling them coupes is like, I don't know. I don't get it. I'm not gonna get it. It doesn't affect my life that much. Oh well. Next comment is, people who make broad generalizations about reliability, like every American, every European moon factory car is unreliable, usually don't know much about cars beyond parroting their parents' grievances. Yeah, this has always bugged me, especially as someone who enjoys cars from so many different aspects. You know, my first car was German. I've owned 3 Japanese cars since. I have an American truck. I have an American car here. I now own a Mustang. It's like I've owned, at this point, 3 American cars, 3 Japanese cars. I owned a German car, like I said. And so it's kind of like, to me, I don't care where it came from. And a lot of these generalizations are so stupid. For people that are like, oh, American cars are so stupid and unreliable. Okay, yeah, sure. Have fun, have fun trying to maintain your E60 M5 when I'm over here having basically no problems in my Mustang. There is so many differences in brands, even in a brand itself, but let alone from brand to brand in an individual country. It's so dumb to make those generalities because, like, in the case of this Mustang, like, this is a fun performance car. You know, Ford also makes the GT350, the GT500, the Ford GT, you know, whatever. And then they also make stuff like the Fiesta. That is not the same in any way whatsoever. When you want to talk about German stuff, they make like the Golf. They also make, you know, like Bugatti. Yes, I know Bugatti is a French brand, but a lot of the engineering is done in Germany. Yeah, I agree with that one because being so general with a car brand, like a singular brand, is already kind of dumb. Doing it with an entire country is kind of just ignorant. Next one, crossovers are less cool than minivans. Crossovers are the comb over of minivans. Minivans are honest. That's amazing. Yeah, I don't know if I would say that they're less cool than minivans depending on the crossover in the minivan, but the fact that everything has to be a crossover nowadays is getting kind of old. I mean, there's so many brands that are, like Chevy now, they're gonna come out with a Corvette SUV most likely. They're looking at spinning the Camaro into its own sub-brand. Like, that's, why? Top Gear complained about this years ago and saying that crossovers were stupid because they were essentially a less practical in almost every single way, not more space, not better fuel economy, doesn't seat any more people than like a 4-door hatchback or something like that, and yet they cost more money and everyone wants them. It's just a fad. Minivans are typically always a better family vehicle, but there was the stigma for so long about minivans being lame and soccer mom cars or whatever. My favorite soccer mom vehicle now is the Jeep Wrangler. Anyway, moving on. Next person says, you should need a different class of license for the amount of power some newer model sports cars have. Yeah, I think that that's honestly kind of fair. And you know, I totally get where they're coming from with that because you do need more skill, and you absolutely do not need more skill to buy these cars. So I think that makes sense, but that'd be so hard to actually put into practice. And I think this is also an overblown issue because yes, people do crash cars that have power all the time. You know, cut to any Mustang ever crashing at a Cars and Coffee at any given point in history. I think that because we're in the car scene, we probably see this as a bigger issue than it actually is. The amount of people that publicly do stupid things and crash their expensive high horsepower sports car is probably, for the most part, not actually affecting the vast majority of people to the point that a new license needs to be a thing. Otherwise, it probably already would have happened. Next comment says, the best cars are the ones that know their jobs and do it well. Therefore, the Prius is an amazing car. Economic, cheap, and reliable. The ultimate commuter. In the same vein, the McLaren F1 is a great car. A no-compromise road car for going fast, being rare, and looking exotic. The ultimate sports car. I think that that's a really good point, and that's kind of the reason why cars like the Prius end up getting hated so much by car enthusiasts, because they don't care about what it stands for. And that's also the reason why cars like the McLaren F1 are so universally hyped. I don't know if I'd really call that a hot take, because I think that's kind of what everyone knows, and that's sort of the reason why cars get the stigmas that they have. Yeah, so many car people or truck people or whatever are like, oh, Priuses are stupid. And then because of that, you know, people that are more casually interested in cars start to have the opinion that they're lame and they don't like them or whatever. But there's a reason why the Prius sells super well, because the vast majority of people don't care. Moving on to the next one. Modern manuals suck, and I can't wait for them to die. What? I really wish they would have clarified more. What sucks about them? Okay, I'm not gonna be the manual guy that's like, oh, they're better for any given reason. It's a preference. In my opinion, I would much rather drive a manual performance car in a lot of cases as like a daily driver cruising around, something like that. I love driving my 6-speed manual Mustang. It is way more fun than driving an auto of this. I do realize though, modern day autos and dual clutches and stuff like that are technically much more technologically advanced and probably better in that sort of way. From an engineering perspective, there's every single reason to go for an automatic transmission and very few to go for a manual. But saying that modern manuals suck, like modern manuals in comparison to what? Modern manuals are even better than they have ever been in comparison to manuals from the past. So what is the point they're trying to make? In comparison to autos? In comparison to what? I don't know. In my opinion, I love manual cars. I don't think this is a hot take. I think it's partially just stupid. This person says, driving fast isn't that much fun. That's just kind of an opinion, you know? I get what they're saying. Personally, I enjoy driving fast. I don't enjoy driving fast for no reason though. I'm not gonna endanger other people on the road just so I can go fast, like, because I think that it's fun. I enjoy doing pulls in my cars. I think it'd be super fun to go do a track day or something like that, driving fast in that way. But just saying as a broad thing, like, driving fast isn't that much fun. It's like being like, drinking isn't that much fun. Well, you know, people might agree with you, they might disagree with you. That is just kind of your opinion. With that being said, if you don't want to drive fast or you don't want to drink or whatever, then don't. Don't let anyone else sway your opinion. Oh boy, this one's a doozy. This is gonna tick a lot of people off, but modifying cars is stupid. Engineers and designers way smarter than you spend years creating these cars. Yes, you can make it faster, but it's best enjoyed the way it comes from the factory. And don't even get me started on cosmetic mods. No set of aftermarket wheels looks better than OEM. Ever heard of proportions? This is a case of this guy does not understand the car modifying scene whatsoever. It's not necessarily to make your car strictly better. There's a lot of things you can improve about your car by modifying it for a specific purpose. For instance, my car has long tube headers and a full exhaust. It is better in the sense that it is faster now, and in my opinion, it sounds cooler. Is it literally better? By definition, I don't think being louder and faster strictly makes it a better car, but it's better at what I want it to do. In the same way, I'm going to modify the suspension of this car and make it handle better. Does that make it a better car? Not necessarily. It makes it more focused at what I want it to do. You modify cars for a purpose, not to make them a better car as a broad thing. Better is a concept. You can't make something universally better to everyone's opinion. But one thing I do find 100% hilarious in that whole thing is him saying, don't get me started on cosmetic mods. It doesn't look better. Okay. A lot of times a person that is modifying their car cosmetically is doing it because they enjoy how it looks on their car, not because they want to try to make it look like a more impressive version of a stock car. They probably don't care what you think. But the one that I'm just saying is 100% incorrect about this, like, again, it is my opinion, but I cannot understand this viewpoint whatsoever, is saying that aftermarket wheels always look worse. Have you ever thought of proportions? Excuse me, let's take a look at this. You want to tell me that there's no aftermarket wheel I could put on this to make it look better than that? You want to tell me this is peak design for this car? Is this right here? No, it is not. That is ridiculous. This person says, screw Teslas and all other electric cars. Screw crossovers. Person responds, dude just hates new car trends. This person commented, Porsche should be pronounced Porsche. Okay, it's German. In German, it is pronounced Porsche. That is why people pronounce it like that. I get that in English in the United States, saying Porsche might make sense by looking at the word. Did you just hear that? What was that sound? I get that saying Porsche might make sense, but it's a German brand, it's German pronunciation. There's a reason why people say that. It's not just someone decided, hey, this word should be pronounced like this, all of a sudden, and everyone went along with it. In the same way, you couldn't just look at BMW and be like, that should be pronounced boom, or something like that. Like, there's a reason why it is pronounced like that, and just saying it should be one way or another is kind of dumb. With that being said, why people care so much about pronunciation of cars, I don't understand. I used to when I was younger. Now, I don't know, man. If you want to say Porsche, whatever. Personally, I say Porsche. Porsche says Porsche. That's why I say it. If you don't want to, you don't have to, whatever. Two of these are on the same exact vein, which is both about hatchbacks and their opinions of them. So I'll go with this one. Volkswagen GTIs are ugly and should not be considered enthusiast cars. I can say the same things for Hyundai's Veloster and the Ford Focus RS. Hatchbacks are so ugly. Okay, congratulations, your opinion does not sway everyone else's opinions. There's a reason why the GTI is considered an enthusiast car. It's a fun car. Go figure. For the Focus RS, in every single way that is an enthusiast car. It is tuned for handling. It has 350 horsepower. It's all-wheel drive. It has a drift mode. And you want to tell me that's not a car built for enthusiasts? It only comes in manual. And your reasoning? Because it's a hatchback? So it's also practical? My bad, I'm sorry. Now, I just think this one's dumb. That might be because I like hatchbacks a lot. I owned a hatchback WRX. I would much prefer this car to be a hatchback. And the reason why is, personally, I like the proportions of a hatchback better than a sedan on certain cars. Sometimes I like it the other way. But what I have to say ultimately is hatchbacks are more practical. There's no way around it. A hatchback of the same dimensions as a sedan has more cargo room. It's easier to load cargo into. They're superior in almost every way when it comes to practicality. So saying that they shouldn't be considered enthusiast cars because they're basically practical is so dumb. Like, you know, a C5 Corvette can get 30 miles per gallon on the highway. Would you say that can't be an enthusiast car because it has some practicality to it? Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. We'll definitely have to do more of these. I hope you guys look forward to it because it was a lot of fun. If you did enjoy this video and you've enjoyed any of the videos you've seen on the channel recently, please consider hitting the subscribe button. It really helps me out, and I will see you guys all in the next one.